Let's create some variations of the 175 millimeter air rocket. In the Maker World, search for a 175 millimeter air rocket, and if you don't see download STL to CAD files, click the down arrow and choose that option, and then click the download icon. And we can see in our downloads folder that we have the 175 millimeter air rocket. In Tinkercad, we'll click Import and choose File, and we'll go to our Downloads folder and find our rocket and import. To see things more clearly, we'll switch from perspective to orthographic view and click the top icon so that we're looking straight down. Move the rocket over, and we're going to make a few copies. So I'm going to click the duplicate button, and then holding the shift key, I'm going to slide over so that it's moving straight across. And now I'll click the duplicate and repeat button again, and we now have 3 rockets. Looking from the front, I'll select all and focus in. Now I'll select just the middle rocket, and let's say I want to have this one be 100 millimeters tall. Now by just shrinking it down, you notice that the nose cone is also being proportionally reduced, as are the fins. This may or may not be okay, but we'll give it a try and see how it works. Let's say we want to keep the fins and the nose cone the same size, but we just want to reduce the middle section, the body of the rocket. To do that, I'm going to look at the rockets from an angle. I'm going to drag out a box, a whole box, and I just want to make sure that the entire rocket is covered. I'll look at the rocket from the front, and I'm going to click the black arrow and drag the box up 50 millimeters because I want to keep the bottom 50 millimeters. Now I'll click this white box and extend the hole up to cover the whole rocket. Select both and group. So now I have that bottom piece. I'll click on the original rocket and duplicate, hold down the shift key and drag it over all the way to the end. Once again, I'll drag out a whole box, a negative box, make sure that it encompasses the entirety of the rocket. And this time, I could just measure from the top, but if I click on the rocket, you'll see that it's an odd number, 175.01 millimeters. So that could be tricky math. So to make it easy, I'm just going to flip the rocket over, tap the D key to make sure that the nose is flat on the work plane. Now, once again, I can look from the side, or from the front rather, and raise the negative box up 50 millimeters. And if it's too hard to do by dragging, you can always just type in the number. Now I'll select and drag up to encompass the entire rocket, select both, and group. So now I have a 50 millimeter top section and a 50 millimeter bottom section for 100 millimeters total. Now flip the nose cone back over, look at it from the top, move it over, tap F to focus in. It looks centered, but to be sure, I'm going to click and drag both shapes and choose the align icon and click the middle on front to back and the middle icon from side to side. While both models are still selected, I'll group them and then look from the front. Whoops, so I forgot a step, obviously. I'll ungroup, and I need to raise the nose cone up 50 millimeters. Okay, now I can click and drag to select both and group them. And look from the front, I'll select all and tap F so we can see what we have. We have a 175 millimeter rocket, and we have 2 100 millimeter rockets. If we select all of them and either tap the T key on the keyboard or click on the color and click transparent, we can see that the interior area is different. The first rocket has a large interior volume. The rocket that was shrunk has a larger volume, slightly larger than the third rocket, and that's because more of the total height of the rocket is being taken up by this larger nose cone. Tap the T key again so that we have the solid versions of each of these rockets. Now we can click and export each one as an STL file. And then bring each rocket into Bamboo Slicer, slice, print, and fire off on the air rocket launcher.